Welcome on into the All Aussie Rules YouTube channel. We've got another 2026 AFL season preview coming up for you today. And today, we're heading to Punt Road. It's the Richmond Tigers. We're going to be going through everything you need to know about the Richmond Tigers heading into 2026 AFL season. We'll be going through the recent history of the team. We'll be looking at all the ins and outs, the depth chart for the Tigers, the best 23 according to us, and a little fixture analysis to wrap it all up. Big season coming up for the Tigers. Can their momentum from last year, their improvement from last year, continue into 2026? We'll find out soon enough. But for today, we're going to be taking a look at the season preview. If you're new around here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We are doing one of these for every single team in the AFL. We're nearly all the way through. The final one will be out by Thursday next week. Don't forget to also like this video if you enjoy. Let me know in the comments your thoughts on the Tigers season for 2026. And also don't forget, we also do a podcast twice a week here on the channel as well. It goes out here, Spotify and Apple Podcasts, so go check it out. Let's jump into the Tigers 2026 campaign. So first of all, they finished 17th last season. Many people, including myself, picked them for the wooden spoon. So they outperformed, I think, most people's expectations last year. Obviously, 2024 was a bit of a rough year, but they did okay last year. They started pretty solid. They obviously won their first game. Then they beat Gold Coast not too many weeks after that. Ended up 5 wins, 18 losses. I think that goes down as a pretty decent result overall for the Tigers. I think they'll be pretty happy with that, but they need to do that again. They need to try and exceed expectations again in 2026, which will be harder. It keeps getting harder. Averaged 63 points per game last year, which was the lowest in the AFL. So offensively, they did struggle to score. You look at their leading goal kickers list from last year, and it's not great reading. Like Seth Campbell, I think, was number one with like 28 goals maybe. Tom Lynch was second. Ryan Mansell was third. So they didn't get a heap of goals throughout the season, and that's evident there with their average offensively scoring per game at 63. Defensively, they were probably slightly better overall, 95.5 points per game against, which not fantastic, but for a team that was expected to have a rough season, I mean, it's not too bad. 15th worst in the AFL. Next up, the last 5 seasons. It's been an interesting little period for the Tigers. Obviously, going back to 2020, before the 5-year period, they obviously won the premiership in 2020. Since then, it's been a bit of a different story for them. 2021 was rough. They finished 12th, obviously. Year 2 of the COVID years. 9 wins, 12 losses and a draw. 2022, they bounced back into finals with 13 wins, 9 losses and a draw. But got bundled out in the elimination final. 2023, they tried to hold on. At times, looked like maybe they would play finals. Ended up 13th, 10 wins, 12 losses and a draw. And then, obviously, 2024, they completely bottomed out. Injuries galore that season. Finished wooden spooners, 2 wins, 21 losses. A really, really rough season for the Tigers in 2024, which then also saw a lot of players leave and them just restock with tons of young talent. So that's where they're at. Obviously, they used that to win 5 games, finish 17th, stock up on even more young talent. They've certainly got plenty of young, good players. So it's going to be interesting to see how long it takes them to develop, whether they can keep all these young players. But the prospects look pretty good over the next few years for the Tigers if they can manage to keep them. It'll be interesting to see this year and next year how quickly these players do develop, getting so much game time because they do get to play a lot of young players every single week. The ins and outs for the Tigers in 2026. First of all, the ins. The only senior player coming, I say senior, player that wasn't drafted that's coming in, Patrick Ratchenko. He comes in from a trade from Geelong. Obviously hadn't played at the Cats, but he'll join the Tigs in hopes of getting a bit more opportunity. And then from the draft, they got Sam Cumming at pick 7. They got Samuel Grill at pick 8. Zane Pueka at pick 31. And Noah Roberts Thompson at pick 54. Just stocked up on more young talent. I think we'll see quite a bit of most of these players, especially Grill this season, probably coming as well. Outs, this is probably the one that Tigers are probably most disappointed with, is Tyler Young. Obviously traded across the West Coast. He's a good young defender who showed some really good signs, and they'll be disappointed that he wanted out. The rest are all delisting, so Jacob Bauer, Jacob Blight, Mate Kalina, Thompson Dow, Jacob Kaskitsky, and Camden McIntosh. So they had to find room for all these young players, and that's kind of where they're at the moment, and probably where they're at again at the end of this season. But it's basically shape up or out you go. A couple senior players there, mainly Camden McIntosh. Some may consider him a little bit unlucky to have been delisted here. But as I said, they just are at a stage where they need to find room for all these young players. You only have a maximum list size, and you got to make some tough calls at times. It's the beauty of the beast, I guess. Onto depth charts for the Tigers. If you're new around here, we'll do a quick explanation on the rankings and the ratings and everything. So we rate every single player, every single game. That gives an average rating for the year, which is that 2025 rating that you can see there. They then go into positions to rank them by position, which we then do the class rating system. So top 10% of each position is rated as elite. They are your purple ones. 10 to 25% is top class, and they will be blue. 25 to 40 is green, and they're above average. 40 to 60 is average, and they're the yellow ones. And then 60 and below is orange, and they're below average. If they didn't play a game last season, they are red and listed as did not play. And then the final colour is the pinky colour, which is anyone that was not on an AFL list last season. So anyone drafted either through the national or rookie drafts over the off-season. So this is what we got for the Tigers. Obviously, number one player in the backline last year, in my opinion, Nick Vlauston, had an outstanding season. Career best year for him. General defender, good ball user, good defender when he needs to defend. He was 10th best general defender in the competition last season, which on a team that didn't win many games is pretty solid effort. So he was really good. Nathan Broad, solid numbers, 53rd best. They need, obviously, some of these young players to step up and overtake probably your Broads. Tom Brown showed some really good signs, ranked 59 for the year. I think he will be a long-term prospect in this backline, hopefully for them. Sam Banks, he was 63. Jaden Short did not have the best season, missed quite a bit of football. His rating probably one of his lowest of his career, to be honest, 64th best. Luke Trainer, I think we'll see him improve again on that this year. He was 88. I'd expect to see him to at least get into the average range in 2026. Caleb Smith was unranked, didn't play much football. Judson Clark did not play. In terms of key defenders, once again, struggling for top-end talent. It's pretty much the issue with Richmond across the board at the moment, which is understandable. They lost a lot of players over the last couple of seasons. But Campbell Gray was the highest rated, but did not play enough games to get a ranking. So make of that what you will. Ben Miller, solid enough, 30th best. Probably not the player that you want as your number one or two. Maybe your number two key defender. If you could get someone above him, that would be good. Noah Bolter had off-field issues throughout the year, missed a few games here and there due to off-field reasons, but solid without being outstanding. He was very important in their win against Gold Coast. And Josh Gibcus, I think we've seen enough to suggest that he's going to be capable at this level. We'll see if he can take that step and really earn his spot as a starting key defender in this Richmond lineup in 2026. We'll jump into the forward line next. start with the general forwards. Sammy Lawler, number 1 draft pick from the year before, had an outstanding start to his career, kicked a couple goals, was influential in their first win against Carlton, their comeback win, and showed some really good signs throughout the season. Did have a few injuries, ended up missing more than half the season. I think he played maybe 10 or 11 games, 11 I think, for the season. He was good. He showed certainly enough as a first year player. I think we'll see him get a lot more midfield minutes this year, hopefully. He'll probably still spend a fair chunk of time half forward flanking. So give him plenty of opportunities for goals, hopefully plenty of opportunities for some contested football, some highlight plays. And so if he can develop and improve again on what he did last season, we'll see quite a lot of good football from him. Seth Campbell, as I think I mentioned before, he was their leading goal kicker last year, I think with like 28 goals on the season. It's not exactly enough to be leading your team's goal kicking, but as a small, medium-sized forward in a team that only won 5 games, that's a pretty good return. So solid numbers from him. If he can do the same, have maybe a 30-plus goal season, that would be a really good return. Ryan Mansell, I think he was their 3rd leading goal kicker, 54th rated overall in that average category. He's probably got better each year. We'll see if he can keep developing. Obviously, a lot of young talent on this list. So he does need to keep improving to keep his spot, because there will be players trying to force their way in. Taj Houghton, 72nd overall. Maurice Rioli, once again saw some good signs from him, just maybe not the consistency, 79. Steely Green, number 95. And Jasper Alga was unranked for the season, didn't play enough footy. Zane Puerka was draft pick and number 31. Might not see a heap of him, but maybe a little bit of an option at some point this season. Key forward-wise, this is an interesting area of the ground for the Tigers. A mix of young and old, and an interesting balance that they're going to have to find in deciding what is their best option, not just for the current, but for the future in developing these players. Tom Lynch is clearly number 1. He was brought across for a reason. He got them the premiership. He's an absolute... He was a star key forward. He's certainly not at that point anymore. His 2025 was a lot better than his 2024, and I think he kicked maybe low 20s goals from about 14 games last year. If they can get a 35-plus goal season from him, it's not too bad. And him being out there takes some of the attention away from some of these other young key forwards, which is obviously beneficial. So I think he needs to be out there and needs to be playing as much as possible, even if it is just to take the heat off his fellow young forwards. Liam Fawcett didn't play much football, showed some okay signs. Jonty Fall was ranked 58, Harry Armstrong 61, Thomas Sims 62, and LeFou. He's the big one here that I have high hopes for. He's a very exciting talent. In the limited opportunities we've got to see him, he only played a few games in 2024, and then last year only played about a quarter of football. Came in about mid-season, coming off an injury, and got injured again. So he is going in pre-season this year. Hopefully he stays fit and we can see him pretty early season. And hopefully we get some exciting plays from him, because I think he is a genuinely very exciting talent in the AFL. Moving into the midfield line, starting with the inside mids. They've got quite a lot of players listed here. Some of these younger ones will probably rotate through forward line sort of roles, maybe even halfback flanks at times, to get their career started at least. It is probably the position, the area where they do have the most experience between rucks and inside mids. Tim Taranto obviously has been around for a while now. He was the 42nd best inside mid last year. Average category. Showed some really good signs early. He's a good player. He's probably never going to be that elite superstar player, but you know what you're going to get from him. He's consistent, and he is very important in this midfield. Jacob Hopper, Had a good season. Certainly the back half of the season, I think he was really good. Had a couple best on performances, or at least certainly was a few games where he was Richmond's best by far. Dion Prestia missed a chunk of the season early, but came in, did his role. Once again, kind of like all three of them. If they can hold the fort down as much as possible and until these young stars really take off, that's kind of where Richmond are at the moment. Jack Ross, 78th best. Kane McCauley has shown some really good signs, both last season and the year before. We'll see if he can get some more games and more consistency, but he looks like someone that will be a good player. Josh Smiley missed the whole of last season, high draft pick from the year before. Didn't get out on the park last year, on the AFL park at least. I would expect we'll see him this year. We'll see quite a bit of him this year, and I would expect that there'll be some pretty good football from him. So keep an eye on him. He's a smooth mover. He'll get plenty of the football, and he'll be exciting to watch. Sam Grill, pick 8, and Sam Cumming, pick 7. We'll see both of them, unless injuries just derail their season. But I think we'll see plenty of both of them. And Noah Roberts-Thompson, I'm not so sure if we'll see much of him. He'll probably get an opportunity at some point. Outside midfielders, Hugo Ralphsmith has kind of been locked in that wing position for the last 12, 18 months. Looks like a good prospect out there. He runs really well, covers the ground, uses the ball pretty well as well most of the time. So keep an eye on him. He'll probably be starting outside mid for them. James Treacy, solid numbers last year. Tyler Sonsi needs to improve a little bit to force his way into this team, I think. And Patrick Rechko didn't play, obviously. He came across from Geelong. We'll see where he fits in this Richmond lineup. And then in the ruck, Toby Nankervis is their senior ruckman, the one that's been around. Ruck rules changing, probably on paper, I wouldn't say would benefit Toby Nankervis. We'll see how that plays out. Maybe they'll need a second ruck out on the park. We'll see. It certainly won't affect his around the ground ruck work. It will, and like getting around the ground, it's just mainly that centre bounce that might, not that it's a bounce anymore, centre throw up that might take a bit of a beating. Samson Ryan is probably next in line, and Oliver Hayes-Brown we haven't seen at AFL level yet. Moving on to the best 23. This was done by me a couple weeks ago. I think nothing's really changed in my mind, but let me know if you think I've made any blues anywhere or you think anything should be completely different. Full forward line, Ryan Mansell, Tom Lynch, Maurice Rioli. Half forward line, Sam Lawler, Harry Armstrong, Seth Campbell. And then your centre line of Ralph Smith and Treacy on the wings. Toby Nankervis, Tim Taranto, Jacob Hopper, and Dion Prestia as that starting centre bounce team. Half back line, Vloston, Noah Bolter at centre half back, and Tom Brown. And then your full back line of Nathan Broad, Ben Miller, and Campbell Gray. Interchange, LaFou, I think, gets a role as that third key forward if he's fit. Probably gets first opportunity at that spot. Jack Ross, Steely Green, Luke Trainer, and Jaden Short. However, that's a pre-season thought. I think this is probably the team that changes the most throughout the season in terms of best 23. The ones I've got next in line are Josh Kipkus, Sam Grill, Sam Cumming, Liam Fawcett, Tyler Sonsi, and Kane McCauley. Sam Grill and Sam Cumming, I think one of them will definitely make their way into this best 23 by the end of the season. Maybe both, and maybe a few others as well. But that's how I have the best 23. As of a couple weeks ago, before we got these preseason practice games, we'll see if things change throughout the rest of the preseason, and then into the actual season. But this is how I drew it up a couple weeks ago. Final thing to look at is a little fixture analysis. Look at where and when who the Tigers are playing this year. First of all, 5 games at home, 5 games away, 13 neutral. But they're playing another Victorian team in Victoria. I count that as a neutral game. State by state, 17 in Victoria, 2 trips to South Australia, 2 to WA, 1 to New South Wales, 1 trip to Tassie, no trips to the Queensland state for the Tigers in 2026. They have 2 byes, round 0 and round 13, so they kick off in round 1 against Carlton. Teams they played twice this year is quite a juicy prospect for them. North Melbourne, who finished 16th last year, Carlton, who finished 11th, Melbourne 14th, West Coast 18th, St Kilda 12th, and Adelaide 5th. So the one and only team that played finals last year that they play twice this year is the Adelaide Crows. That's quite good. Obviously, playing the other 2 teams that are in the bottom 3 in North Melbourne and West Coast twice. And then they also get Melbourne, St Kilda, and Carlton. So, pretty juicy looking fixture on paper. That's not how it will work out. A lot of things change throughout the season, but at first glance, it certainly shapes up as quite a nice draw for them. How I came up with 17th was done in a podcast episode like November-ish when the fixture was released. We went through a lot of stuff. It comes down to who you play, where you play them, and a couple other little factors. But overall, Richmond came out at 17th, so the second easiest. Other teams that had easy draws, Port Adelaide was number 1, Richmond 2, GWS 3, Fremantle 4, North Melbourne 5. In terms of the hardest, it was Gold Coast the hardest draw, then Carlton, Essendon, Bulldogs, Melbourne, Collingwood. So yeah, that's the draw difficulty. That's the Richmond Tigers. I'm pretty sure that's about all we have for you. Make sure before you leave that you do hit that subscribe button, hit that noti bell so you don't miss any videos. We've got plenty of content all through the pre-season here on the YouTube channel of All Aussie Rules. We also have plenty of social media stuff going out almost every single day. TikTok, Instagram, Twitter /X, Blue Sky, All Aussie Rules everywhere. Go find it. And also check out the podcast while you're looking at All Aussie Rules content. Yeah, that's everything I've got for you. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Let me know in the comments what your thoughts are on Richmond's prospects for 2026. Did I make any blues in this video? Please let me know. The Tigs, how will they go in 2026?